Money moves. Never let you look at life. Keep it always cool. Yo, success ain't a straight line, they flip their fate. Turn setbacks to comebacks, now they're straight greats. From the grind to the shine, watch the pros improve. On unconventional money, it's the next gen groove. Genius minds outside the lines. On unconventional money, we rise and shine. Unconventional money moves, where success rewrites the rules.
Sheets mess me up. For me personally, if I do that, then I just can't focus. But I've been on podcasts where people were like, they'd ask me a good question and then I'd answer it thoughtfully, and they go, mm-hmm, and then they look at their sheet again, ask me the next question. I'm like, oh, this okay.
Yeah, I mean, some people are like so worried about getting to the next question. It's the thing is, with a conversation, you could focus on one topic the entire time. I mean, you're a comedian. Do you do like stand-up comedy as part of like?
I do
Okay,
improv, and my stand up is I write parodies. So there's some talking, but it's mostly parodies about menopause. You'd love it.
I sound like I'm your target
You
audience.
are totally my target audience because it's educational.
Perfect. Well, that's a subject I can't say I know a lot about but I'm always willing to learn.
Nobody does. That's the awesome part. Nobody fact checks me.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of like the Patch Adams movie when he like makes the legs in the movie.
Yeah. Oh,
Welcome.
just want to remember to tell you, I didn't know this ahead of time, but there's major construction going on in my street. So I'm using a directional mic, and I'm hoping right now it doesn't sound like much is going on out there, but I think everybody's on lunch. So let's just hope it goes for the next hour. But if you hear like super loud beeps and it's annoying, let me know. We might have to reschedule. They're literally turning the street up to put new water pipes in. I just found out this morning.
Gotcha.
So right now it's fine, I think.
That's okay. But I mean, the comedy piece, and you also do art. I mean, I see lots of art behind you. I mean, what came first, the artistry, the comedian piece, the chicken or the
Shoot.
egg?
Right? Kind of all developed at the same time, I would say. I would also say that comedy, when growing up, was more of a defense mechanism, and
Mhm.
and alternately, art was a pain point. Interesting. Just thought of that, but it kind of was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kids could be. I mean, I think everyone was probably made fun of. Most people were made fun of at some point, but it's all about how you respond versus react to those sort of situations. Like if someone makes fun of you, you can kind of like brush it off, like the conversation ends. But as soon as you start to like get annoyed, people will start putting that dagger in and turning that dagger and
Mm-hmm.
seeing how far they can go with it. So I mean,
Mm-hmm. Because
is
they just
that
got rewarded.
yeah? So what was your first comedian like show? Was that in school? Like walk us through how you got introduced to actually like performing comedy, because being a comedian in the house with your family versus being a comedian out with strangers is way
True
different.
that. True that. It actually wasn't that long ago. I'm just naturally a funny person and I am biased. But like I used to be a full-time musician, and humor is just kind of ingrained in it is literally just a part of me. I didn't really start doing it professionally until 2012, maybe. When I joined Comedy Sports. Are you
Mhm.
familiar?
No,
Where are you in the world?
America.
Okay.
We're up in now we're up in Maryland. I actually came up with a funny joke. They call this area the DMV, the district. They call it the district. And I think about it, who likes going to the DMV? And why would anyone want to name where they live the DMV?
Yeah, nobody.
It sounds like
Nobody.
hell on earth.
Well, in like 30 major cities in the US, there's this thing called Comedy Sports, and it's comedy played as if it's a sport. It's kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyway, only with two teams and a referee. So
Mhm.
that's where I started doing it professionally. And then I just kind of started doing stand up because I had been a musician before that, I told you. So that's kind of where I took the comedy and the music at the same time.
So like you perform songs as your like stand up?
Yes, with a ukulele. I'm a bass player by trade, but that just looks ridiculous if you don't have a band. And I had moved to Seattle where I didn't know anybody. So I took up the ukulele, took up comedy, put the two together. So yeah, I write songs and then just kind of riff stuff in between, like Hot Child in the City is now Hot Flash in the City. Don't worry, be happy. Not just lists all 34 symptoms of menopause.
So who's in the crowd here? Like, because obviously, like being a comedian, you could be great, but if you're in front of the wrong folks, like the jokes
You
aren't gonna
would
hit.
you would think, but like one of the songs I do is Those Were the Days. It's an old folk song that was big in the 60s. And
Is that like
one of
All in the Family?
no, those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. We'd sing and
Oh,
dance. You're young. Just know it was a thing.
oh, I was thinking Archie Bunker.
Oh, which I love, but no, it wasn't Archie. It was this folk song that was done by somebody, Mary something. I don't know. But one of the lines I wrote is, once upon a time when we were younger, we were thinner by a size or two. Remember how we laughed away the hours? Incontinence meant nations to me and you. It's funny, no matter who you are. So I try to aim for lines like that.
How did you stumble across this niche niche comedy that you have with well, musician, you said you're a musician, so I mean it was like, hey, how do I incorporate a talent into something to separate yourself from other people? But like how come you ended up into like these sort of jokes? What
Super good
sparked that?
question. There's a reason for it. It wasn't just a hey, I've got an idea. Um, with my day job, I found myself as an creativity expert on a panel of people that catered toward people going through menopause. And so it was, as we got together and did events, there are over, I don't know, 60,000 women all over the world in this group. So we get together and do cruises and things like that. And I would MC the events. And it was just, I thought it would just be a funny way to segue things. And, but yeah, they just kind of took off. And so now I just do that.
Yeah, I would be like scared to be a comedian. I feel like you have to be super brave to be a comedian because like I'm into like I like dark humor. Like I think dark jokes are like fun because like they're
Yeah.
just jokes. But like a lot of people don't know how to like separate like jokes from like being that mean child and being bullied in school. So how did you get the courage to actually perform in front of people and tell these jokes?
I think that being a musician from high school on helped with that because I really don't have any fear being in front of a large group or a small group because I understand this. Vulnerability is attractive, right? So being that person makes the people in the audience go, "Oh man, I'm with you. I got to finish this. You got this. You got this." People would rather do that than laugh at you, and the people who are laughing at you, that says way more about them than it does about you and what you're doing. My humor is not so dark. Look at me. Your people are out there though, right? And the thing that just takes the time is doing your thing and doing your thing, and the people that like you will come back and bring their friends who are also into the dark, and they'll recommend you to people who are into the dark. So you can't please all the people all the time, and if you are, you're probably not funny, right? Um,
Yeah, you have to be willing to offend people with your jokes in order to find the folks that aren't offended by your jokes.
yeah, and maybe it doesn't have to revolve around offensiveness, but the things that you find are funny, I might not find. I just, and I am embarrassed to say this, but I'm just going to put it out here. I am not into poop humor. A lot of people are awesome. They've got their crowds out there. I'm not, and that people poop. I can't say that 10 times fast. Poop humor is not that offensive. It's just icky. Somebody might find it offensive. I don't know. I think, one man's offensiveness is somebody else's comedy gold, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
So the key thing to being out there is, if everything is done with love and respect, even if it sounds like a lot of crowd work that stand-up people do today sounds offensive, but it's done with an underlying love and respect for the human that's in front of them. And if you go in there uh, uh, with your own self-confidence, it's going to be fine for everybody. People who don't have, who can't, who do get offended easily probably shouldn't sit in the front of a comedy show because
Well,
they're going to talk to you, right? So yeah, as
that's what
long as
you're paying.
everything's
That's what you're paying for.
exactly, right? Yeah, yeah. Um, mm, and for me personally, I like all of the deprecation to be aimed at myself,
Mm.
and not in a bad way, just in a with love and respect. But I will joke about menopause, myself, things like that. Like I teach these classes, and in one of them is I teach people how to draw caricatures, and when showing them how to draw facial features, um, I show them how to draw the eyes and the nose. I'm like, and here's how you draw eyebrows. I happen to be an expert. I draw mine on every day. It's not really deprecating, but I'm poking fun at myself because I do draw them on expertly every day. Wouldn't you agree?
They look real to me.
See? Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. You were mentioning crowd work. I remember my wife and her sister went and saw Pete Davidson in like Philly, and there was like a fight that broke out during his set, and he was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Like, I have to work really hard on these jokes. I'm not Matt Rife. I just can't do crowd work like that." Or something like that. How difficult is crowd work? Because when you see a good clip on social media, it just looks effortless, but you have to literally like be right on the spot.
Yeah, it takes two things: practice and also there is planting
High
a little
levels
bit
of ADHD.
high levels of that.
Yeah.
And when I say planting, not planting the people, but planting the jokes. Like if there is something that really went over well in Toledo, when you said something funny about a really tall guy, you seek out a tall guy in other cities so that you can tell that same joke again. And that's not across the board what happens, but that is one aspect of it that can happen. And also just it's just practice.
It's like identifying patterns.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Like you start seeing the same kind of folks in the same seat. You're like, all right, I'm gonna see if this works with this guy or gal or person.
Yeah, 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 and also it's a little bit of improv brain too because you are just off the cuff, and the idea of improv scares a lot of people because it's not a rehearsed thing. But we are improving this conversation right now without really thinking about it or giving too much pressure to it. I don't know what you're going to say next. You don't know what I'm going to say next. So we're making it up as we go along. And people who are just naturally funny and fast, um, do pretty well. And like I said, the crowd work, some of it lands and some of it doesn't. And the stuff that does land, you try it on the next city, you try it on the next city.
Well, whether you're a comedian or you work for a company or you're a business owner, being able to use improvisation will help separate yourself from your peers because I mean anyone can get a good script and just learn the script. However, being able to listen to certain words people are saying and then using those words in your conversation to help, you know, build trust or build a relationship, whatever you're looking to do, is a huge difference maker that I feel like goes really overlooked in society, especially now. I don't know if that's just me or if you see the same sort of things.
No, that's entirely true. I did a talk, a keynote thing once about humor in the workplace. And I have a very short memory, so I'm not going to get the number right. But Forbes magazine did a study, and they would 60% rather have somebody with a sense of humor than somebody who actually just fits the job title, right? They 60% more would rather have somebody because that sense of humor says something about teamwork and ability to problem solve. It says all of these subconscious things about a person. So it actually is really, really important. Yeah.
Yeah, when I used to work at a large financial institution, there was we were in the cubicle farm. We were all on the cubicle farm there with our headsets, and there was one of my coworkers. He was at least 15 years older than me. He would listen to my conversations and write down the things I would say and then bring it to our meeting and then say, these are the things. They'd call me crafty. They're like, crafty. Here's what crafty said this past couple weeks. And they would just like list it out. Everyone's like, what are you saying? I'm like, well, you're only hearing one side of the conversation. Like I'll say, like they'll hear things like, I don't know what you do, but I just sit and I wait. And like the guy was talking about like, oh, I lost power. I'm like, I don't know what you do, but I sit in my house and I wait. That's all you can do. Or I remember like there was another time, it was my birthday, and all they heard was, hey man, I don't know what happened to you this weekend, but like I had a fireball incident. So whatever you're going through probably isn't as painful what I'm going through. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? I was like, someone brought fireballs to work and I ate too many of them and I got like ulcers in my mouth. and I had to get like lidocaine, and I like sat in the dark all weekend and just like couldn't eat.
Exactly that. Because work stuff is teachable. What you have to do on your job on the day to day is teachable to anybody. But having that mentality of A, getting along with your coworkers, B, having a team member attitude, and problem solving stuff that comes up at work, that's not as teachable. And so that's why
Do you think people are just like born with it?
yeah, I think it can be developed too, but I do think that people are, or at least it comes more naturally. Maybe in the same way it comes more naturally for some people to play golf than other people. So you can still learn how to play golf. It's just a lot more work. I'm biased, but I think it's worth the effort to put in to try to become that person. But the enemy of humor is overthinking, right? And it's really hard to shut that muscle off. But the great byproduct, if you can figure out how to do that, is you're no longer an overthinker.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned to sometimes stop myself from saying certain things just because if I don't know someone and I don't understand maybe what they like or don't like, it could come across the wrong way. Because the
Yeah,
English language, like you could say something and it means no harm, but someone thinks you're being offensive, or I don't even know.
exactly.
It's so weird.
It is. It is. And they don't all land. And like I said, if they do all land, you're probably not funny. And and I it's super uncomfortable when you say something and the people look at you like, did that really just come out of your mouth? And like, I was trying to be funny. Oh man, nothing worse. Doesn't stop me from doing it the next time.
Yeah. I mean, my wife, Roxanne, she laughs at me when I'm not even like trying to be funny. And so I don't try to be funny. I just act the way I act. And like, there'll be times where she just like starts cracking up. Like I doing a financial video. I do them like once a quarter. And I was talking about, I was like, listen, if this happens, everyone's favorite R word could happen or something like that. I was like, but I'm not going to say it. Like talking about like a recession. She just like started busting laughing. She's like, that was pretty funny. I was like, I don't know. I wasn't
You
trying to be
got
funny.
you got this great deadpan energy about you. Um,
Deadpan? What is a
deadpan.
what's a deadpan? Like bedpan?
Exactly that. You've got bedpan energy. No,
Deadpan
that's not
energy.
what it is. It's exactly what your wife was laughing at. You can deliver. I I fall on the goofy side, so it's tough for me not to. Yeah, I'm that kind of funny person. But you can just deliver a line super straight, and what you say is funny, not the like my face has to say, "See, I'm being funny." Yours doesn't. That's deadpan. Make sense?
Yeah. I've been told I'll be in like people trying to sell me stuff. They'll be like, I can't read you. I was like, is that a bad thing?
Yeah, to everybody else, it's awesome for you, but
It's
that's
awesome for
exactly what
me.
it is.
Yeah.
You look super straightforward, but you deliver, and you're like, I think that was funny. It's good. It's a good.
I mean, if it's funny, people will laugh. If it's not funny, then there'll be silence. However, I've never done stand-up comedy. I haven't gone through I haven't put in the same work you have. But I like to study like people. Like
Hmm.
I'll watch
Hmm.
like the same thing over and over. And what I've learned, and I think Dave Chappelle said this. He said the power to any joke is that silence.
Yeah.
If you can get a room dead silent and you're just like, all right, I'm in it right now.
Yes.
Like when you have the silence, like some people are like awkward with the silence. I look at it as when you have the silence of a room, like people are like, what the heck are they gonna say next?
Yeah. 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 Same with an acting performance. Same with a musical performance, and sometimes it happens in a fraction of a second. There's something that they call a choke. It's where the music stops for just that half quarter of a second, and then bam, they come back in on the next note. That little bit of just that tiny little bit of dead silent sucks you in. Like you almost hold your breath when listening to it. Same thing with comedy and with acting, and it's can be painful to attempt because situation has to be right. And because if you're just not good and you're quiet, then it's just awkward. Everything has to be magic for it to happen, but it's awesome when it does.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with comedy, you have to accept that it's going to be hard and you are
Yeah.
going to fail, and like
Hmm.
you're gonna build up those calluses on your hands and just basically become stronger and stronger with each attempt.
Yep. Yep. Kind of the same with art, kind of the same with anything that you don't just wake up good at, right? It's painful to begin with or painful to share that you're doing the thing because as humans we don't like to not be good at things. Nobody likes to not be good at a thing. And comedy happens in front of a bunch of people. You can't practice that in the mirror and have it be the same out on a stage. It is not the same out on a stage. So you can memorize your stuff in front of the mirror, but you're starting over again as far as rehearsing and getting it where you wanted to get in front of people. And it's super rewarding though. It's super rewarding in all the ways. It's a very legal high, and it's just the amounts of oxytocin and serotonin and dopamine, all the good things come out of doing it, just like being in a band is.
So so how do you overcome in comedy or when you're performing when the B word happens?
That which B
Bomb,
word?
bomb,
Bomb.
bomb.
Oh
When you
shoot.
bomb.
Yeah, no, you just know it's gonna happen. And you, in the same breath, you have to say to yourself, nobody's dying today. Nobody's losing their life. Nobody's fired. I'm gonna be okay. The bombs have to happen. Here's why. And this is a good microcosm life for lesson for life as well. We strive for safety. We strive for here. This is good, right? This is amazing. This sucks. This doesn't happen without this. If you're just coasting along and you're safe and no one's laughing at you, no one's criticizing you, you're just living here. And that I can't think of a more boring life than that. This has to happen for that trajectory in this direction for this to happen because you don't know where this is unless you visit here, right? If this and this doesn't happen, you're just living a zero excitement, just a flatlined life. So this has to happen so that you appreciate this as well. Otherwise, this is your new zero, but this is not sustainable. So this painful. There's no getting around that. And that can be said in a lot of different aspects of life where, I lost my job, but then I got this great job that I really love. You know what I mean? This is just gonna happen. That's what life is.
I don't
So
believe that you could be a winner without being a loser.
it's the exactly, Jinx, you owe me a Coke now. Yeah. Same. Yeah. You can't be a winner because then you're just here. You're not a winner or a loser. You just live in here.
You're
If
not
there's
even
no
playing.
loss, you're not even playing. That's it. Exactly. Yeah.
You gotta play the
Yeah.
game to win, and sometimes you play the game and you lose, but in order to win, you have to risk losing.
Yes. You don't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. And you don't buy a ticket without giving $1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never played the lottery.
Mm,
That's just me.
me either. But I love Vegas. I love Vegas because I am into kitschy things and lights and shows but not the gambling bits.
Have you attempted to gamble?
No, not really. I have bought lottery tickets with friends when we're all sitting out somewhere and everybody gets $10 worth of scratch offs or something like that. But it kind of doesn't even cross my mind when I go to Vegas, sometimes people are like, take this 20 and put it in a machine for me. I will go and do that for my friend. I just have no interest in it. It's kind of like I won't ever jump out of a perfectly good airplane or I'll never bungee jump. I feel like I'm allotted so much good luck in life and I'm not going to waste some of it on doing an insane thing. I don't need the rush there. I get rushes in other places, like being on a stage. I don't need to get it from jumping out of a plane or something like that. And I kind of feel about gambling the same way, that it's just like doing dangerous things. I just won't.
Well, I mean, being a comedian's taking a big gamble, right?
I guess you're right. Nobody's breaking their legs though. Yeah. But you're right. It is. Yeah. It is. So, and you know what? I'll bet there are plenty of people who jump out of airplanes who are like, I will never get on a stage. And you know what? That's okay. One of my favorite quotes from Winston Churchill is if two people are exactly alike, one of you is unnecessary. So it's really pretty cool that we're all into different things and like different things and have different tastes. Awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, you've like worked with some like big companies, right? With
Yeah.
comedy stuff.
Not with the comedy so much as the art.
With
The art.
ours, let's talk about the
Yeah.
art then.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, that's my main gig actually.
Okay.
Yeah, my clients include Netflix and Disney and Spotify and Facebook and Amazon and Microsoft and Google, and name a big company. I've probably dealt with at least one of their teams, if not more. And I've not been on Netflix. I've not been on Disney. A lot of people make that mistake. No, I teach corporate events to the people behind the scenes.
How did you get discovered for that? Because those could be really life-changing opportunities for
They
someone like
have
you.
been. They really have been. So I first, so I am an artist by I'm an artist by trade. I went to school for that and worked at ad agencies, and I designed paper plates for a while. You may have eaten off my work. And um, when I was in Seattle, I first heard of paint night. Are you familiar? It's where you pay money to go to a bar and you drink wine while somebody teaches you how to paint a thing.
Oh, like painting with the twist.
That, yes.
Yes.
First heard of that in 2014, and I thought, I'm uniquely qualified to do that because I'm an entertainer. I was doing comedy then, and I'm an artist. I'm uniquely qualified. I'm going to call paint night to let them know. And they said I could do it on Tuesday nights at this bar. And I thought, I'm just going to buy easels. So I have never attended one of these things. But I bought 24 easels and a bunch of brushes and practiced on friends and then launched a Groupon and started the biz. And I was in Seattle. So what out of 7 people there works at Amazon? So somebody said, do you do corporate events? I said, yes, because yes, and. And what is a corporate event but an event that's during the day? No, there's a big difference because with a painting with a twist or paint night, you sign up for it. You're going to go and drink wine with your friends and have a good time. With a corporate event, your boss is telling you where to be at 4 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, right? So most of the people in there do not want to be there. They come in saying, don't expect much out of me. My 3rd grade teacher told me I will never be an artist, or my sister got all the talent, or I can only do stick people. Excuse after block after block. And I thought, they're not going to enjoy this. And, if this is their thinking. So my job to me quickly became just as much a TED talk about why, yeah, you are an artist and this is why you need to be doing it, as it was, here's how you paint a tree, right? So the thing I tell people, my message is, we are all artists. We're the only living creature that makes things out of nothing just to do it, just to story tell, not because we need a nest or to impress a mate. And it's so inherent to what we are as a creature that it is scientifically proven to help with anxiety and depression and sleeplessness and outside of the box thinking and your self-esteem and all of these things that is just inherent to what we are. Cave art in France is 45,000 years old. That's older than language. We've been drawing on cave walls, but that's insane. Proof of agriculture, less than 5,000 years old. It's been more important for us as a creature to express ourselves than to eat on the regular. That's huge, right? We've only been selling art to each other about 500 years. That is a blip in time, but that's the marker everybody uses as to whether or not they should do art, is if they're good at it, right? But it's good for you. Like I said, it's scientifically proven to help with all these things, and you will get good at it because art is like yoga. You're way better on day 800 than you are on day one. But that again is how it helps with your self-esteem. And it's meditating with a parting gift. When I try to meditate, I just spend 15 minutes trying to shut off my to-do list. I'm ADHD. That doesn't happen, but I can paint for 2 hours and it goes by like that. That's the meditative quality. So this is the stuff that I talk to people about while I'm teaching them how to paint the tree. And to me, that's the more important part of what I do. So things were going great in Seattle, and then the pandemic happened. And once I figured out how to put paint and materials into people's hands, then I started teaching teams all over the world. So I teach Amazon teams in Japan and Spotify teams in Sweden. I'll get up at 3 a.m. to teach classes in Asia. That's okay because I live alone with a cat who ignores me, and I like bragging about it. So I don't mind doing it. I love doing it, actually. And I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in the world.
So it seems like even though things went to more remote style, that allowed you to speed it up a bit.
Right? This happened, then that happened. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah.
What's the biggest difference between the remote and the in-person? What's like more challenging and what's like easier for you?
Well, it's been a minute since I've done it in person. I do it like once every 3 months. I'll go back to, I'm in the Midwest now. I didn't tell Seattle that I left, so don't tell them because they'll call and ask me to do an event. I'll just fly there and I'll do it. And then I'll come back. I love the in-person just because there's a thing about the human connection that is just kind of lost in this kind of situation. Um, so I I can't see people's work. Like if I was teaching you something right now, you'd have the easel in front of you facing you. I can't see what you are working on, right? Unless you turn it around to show me. So, right? So that little bit is lost. I love to walk around when I'm teaching an in-person class because about 10 minutes in to the class is when people start going, mine doesn't look anything like the teacher's. I must be doing this wrong. So I like to walk around and say, if Picasso and Bob Ross, entirely different artists, but if they were both on your team, their art would look different than each other. And if they were comparing themselves to each other, they'd both be like failures, but they're both amazing. I love your brushwork. It's like a Matisse paints like you. Or I love you. I love how you made your characters super bold. That's so Modigliani. Or, and I'll name famous artists authentically. I'm not making stuff up so that people go, yeah, my brushstrokes are bold because I have a bold personality, and my personality is on this canvas. That happens more organically in an in-person class. The kind of cool thing about remote classes is people are in their safe space, which is their house, their home office, whatever, and they don't have the anxiety that the in-person people do when we first get going. It all ends well. I'm biased, but it all ends well. But that is one thing I notice. I really love selfishly, I love being able to connect with people just all over the planet, which I can't really do in person. There's just too many of you. You know what I mean? So both have their good qualities and their bad qualities.
Out of all the cultures, like what is the biggest like similarity with teaching art when you're working with people from different countries?
Ooh, the voice that beats ourselves up. Super good question. The little voice that is like, I'm not doing this right. That is across the board because some cultures are just really I try to make these events as conversational and fun as possible, and some people just aren't there for fun. They're like staring at they're in it, in some cultures. And but across the board, all cultures are like they've got that voice, that little, sitting inside their head saying, I am not good. And it's just such a great place to practice turning that self-talk around. That's not a wonky Eiffel Tower. I have a playful personality, and so my Eiffel Tower is playful. It's it's easier to practice when you're not just like staring in a mirror going bad hair day, or I burnt my egg, just whatever your negative voice is saying. You don't really even pay attention to it, but you are in charge of it. And when you're working on art, it's outside of yourself, so it's a great place to practice making that little voice a little kinder.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, with different languages, like how do you break through to someone who's not like
Oh,
English speaking because certain words don't transfer
yeah.
over?
Yeah, I love those events. My favorite story is I taught a team in Colombia. They were engineers in Colombia, and the the person that hired me said, "I don't know that anybody speaks English." So I'm like, okay. Sometimes there is an interpreter on the call, but with this one, I thought I'm going to be really smart and use Google Translate during the call, but I will practice ahead of time saying in Spanish, "Hello, my name is Angel. I don't speak Spanish. I'm going to be using Google Translate." So I'm practicing saying that in Spanish while I'm on the call, like 15 minutes before the class was going to start. And I hear someone in my headphones say, "Okay." I'm like, "Huh." I didn't know anybody was on, and I had only had my own face on the thing, not the whole gallery, so I didn't know anybody else was in there. And so they told me that they could at least speak a little English. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to teach it then. But please, if you have a question, let me know. I will translate the answer for you. And then I just spoke kind of slowly, and it was a drawing class, not a painting class. So I had one camera just on my drawing while I was slowly explaining to them what we were doing. Nobody said a peep during the whole thing. And as a comedian, I like when people laugh at my jokes, and I tell jokes. So I'm, nope, no laughter happened, and I'm like, is this thing on? And when the class was, 3/4 of the way through the class, I'm just thinking, man, I just hope this wasn't a train wreck. I have no idea. And when the class was over, I said, "How did you guys do? How do you feel?" And they all turned their paper around. We drew a really beautiful historic church in Bogota, and they all turned out so amazing. I think my face must have looked like, oh, like I won the lottery. So yeah, it hasn't been a problem. Mainly, I'm guessing because it was a visual experience and people were following along what I was doing as well. There are translators sometimes, but for the most part, a lot of people, especially like I said, if I teach a team of Amazon engineers in Japan, they all speak English because they're working with other Amazon employees in other parts of the world. So it hasn't been too much of a problem.
Well, and when you're working with engineers, I mean, they're going to be locked in.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, most of my clients are engineers because I work with tech teams for the most part. I don't know, it's just kind of where the niche I've gotten into. So I like to describe brushstrokes as parentheses and forward strokes and backstrokes. I try to speak their language as much as possible, which they appreciate.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything else you got going on before I let you get back to the rest of your afternoon with the construction and the pipes and
Right? Oh
whatever
my
else is
gosh, it's
going
been
on?
blissfully quiet. I am happy to say. Just that I'm working on a book. It's not out yet, but please find me on the socials. I'm working on a book called Arting 101 that is going to be just an expansion of the things that I talk about during my classes.
Sweet. Yeah, we'll get it out there. And I was happy we were able to make this happen. I know we had a couple calamities that we had to shift through to get you here.
We got it. We did it.
All right, awesome. We'll see you everyone next time. Bye,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you.
Sweet.